Hi, welcome to another Power Blast podcast. How many times have you regretted not doing something? Well, in this episode, we're going to talk about how to cleverly trick your brain into achieving success. Stay tuned. Hey there, my friend. Perry Tinsley here, creator of the Power Blast podcast, the power of possibility, passion, and purpose. And I think we could all relate. We've had those moments or those times where we regretted not doing something, and we come up with a great idea, and then, I don't know, the brain kicks in, tells you to hold on, to be cautious, maybe overanalyze. Probably doesn't say I'm going to overanalyze, but it tends to do that. And by the time you've hesitated and you start thinking things through, you somehow maybe talk yourself out of doing it. That happens a lot in the health and fitness world anyway. So I think it's natural to ask yourself, what if I'm wrong? What if I fail? What if I look stupid? Just those that head chatter that we end up having. And the next thing you know, nothing that you wanted for yourself gets done. And it often leads to, a big, huge pile of regret. And so let's talk about some things to avoid this unfortunate part of life that we all deal with when our brain decides to actually help us out. I'm excited to I'm doing a masterclass with a friend of mine, Alita McDaniel. She was a guest on this show, and she is doing a masterclass on purpose-driven productivity, and she really talks a lot about procrastination. So I'm looking to learn from her. I wish I had those tips to share with you right now, but I do know that procrastination, it sometimes has, it's your brain's way of helping you relieve stress and, just to avoid this, the stuff that you have to deal with. And it's really not helpful at all, but the brain thinks it's being helpful. And then we've got that thing called fear, which is, the number one limiting factor for people in accomplishing things. Things that people want, fear gets in the way, and that's where dreams die, and they never get acted on because we're unsure. And I think it was I think there's a quote out there that says, everything you really wanted is just on the other side of uncomfortable. And you do have to break through fear to do that. And the brain, so the brain does procrastination. It does fear. It's got this survival mode about it. And when you're in survival mode, you're not in thinking mode. So what do you do about it? How do you help your brain help you? Well, there's some things I've tried and some things I've done on research as I was looking for some information to provide you on this podcast. And one, this is something that it took me a while to get into because I thought it was hokey. It's to meditate. And perhaps you do think it's hokey and it's something that you would never do. It's like way out there sort of stuff. I thought that too. But what I've discovered is meditation helps you handle stress, and it utilizes like the thinking part of your brain and helps you overcome challenges. So it's not necessarily all this big cosmic woo of some sort. There's some amazing guided meditation apps and guided meditation audios out there that I think they just help you calm your mind and help you regain just your mental clarity and where you want to go. And sometimes you can figure things out through meditation doing that. It's kind of giving that little break. That's one of the tips. Next one is to just develop good habits. I think I talked about this a week or two ago on podcast with some of the tips from Atomic Habits author James Clear was saying, habits, they automate routines and activities in our daily lives, so we have to spend less brain energy on it, and it frees up our mind for more information for other, higher mental activities. And developing a good habit is actually the key to developing a good habit is actually to take whatever the bad habit is and just replace it with something better and something good. I'm not the expert on replacing those. I know I've tried those. I've read James's book. I gave the tips last week. Was it last week? The week before? I'm not sure. You'll have to go back in the library there. But some great tips on how to replace bad habits with good habits. So there's your second tip. And the next one is to take massive imperfect action. I just got off the phone with a friend of mine who's wanting to get into exercise and to eat better. And for him, it was one excuse after another that was holding him back. And he would always think of a reason not to, or come up with a solution not to. But the fear of failure and rejection is so strong. It's such a strong motivation not to do something that action, even if it's imperfect, is the only way to really break through and create real results. I think it was Harry Truman that said imperfect action is better than perfect inaction. How true is that? Because when you're not doing anything, you're not going anywhere. You're not doing that. At least if you're heading in the wrong direction, you've got some action you could redirect and course correct along the way. So the reason why many of us don't take action when it matters most simply is because we don't feel like it. We don't make it a priority. And, we definitely have the desire and the want, but when we rely on motivation and inspiration to help us achieve our goals, sometimes that doesn't work. I've heard the terms before. Oh, I just got to get motivated. You've got to, the motivation will come, but you got to take consistent, massive, imperfect action to spark that growth, to start producing results. And that's going to just help catapult your life in many ways to achieve those results that you're wanting, the big goals that you've got, to just go after it like you've never done before. But you've got to do that. So what dreams are you not taking action on? What goals are out there that you have that you're not taking action on because you're spending more time worrying about it, considering it, deciding it, trying to plan it. And sometimes people will put these things out, I'll start after Christmas, or I'll start next week, or I'll start next month. And that gives the brain more time, more fuel to really come up with excuses not to. Where if you were just to jump in and go and say, I'm going to figure out along the way, I'm committing, day one is tomorrow or day one is tonight, boom, you got things going. So I hope those tips helped you. Just little strategies to trick the brain. I'll put some of my top guided meditation apps that I like to use in the show notes. And as far as habits go, I love a great morning routine. That's why I created a free download cheat sheet called Morning Success Habits Cheat Sheet. You can go to morningsuccesshabits.com, download it. It's yours. You'll start to feel more productive, more focused. You'll be reaching your goals in no time. So head over to morningsuccesshabits.com, download that, and just enjoy. I hope these tips helped, and thanks for getting over to the podcast app and giving an honest rating review and sharing this with people. You absolutely rock, my friend. And as always, remember, it's never too late. We'll see you next week.